Knowledge transfer, it's not just documenting your standard operating procedures. Knowledge transfer has to do with including best practices, advice, something that is unique to your company that you cannot learn in any other tutorial that is out there or by reading a book, right? Maybe it is based on a tutorial for a software or a certain book, but you adapted it to your organization. Well, that takes time, experience, and also knowing that it is successful. So that needs to be documented. You can always refer to the external resource that you used in order to adapt that knowledge to your company, but then also include how can you actually utilize it and how do you utilize it, and best advice and best practices, and also include your hard-won experience. I tried to do it this way and that way and that way, and it didn't work. So this is why we are doing it this way. And that is super valuable because those lessons are part of the knowledge transfer. Now, sometimes putting it just in writing is not enough because there is so much more to it. It has to be like three-dimensional. That's why utilizing videos is so important, and putting it in a place where it is known that other can access is very important. That's why a software like Whale is a must when you're actually doing knowledge transfer, because you can store the videos there. You can have link to other things that you have on your drive or in the server or wherever you keep all your files. You can have, and you can change it very easily. So I'm not saying you have to change everything all the time, but because it is on such a platform, if you think about something that you need to add, it's very easy to add. You can also add additional videos, or you can review it on a regular basis, let's say quarterly, every 6 months, yearly, whatever that cadence is for you, to make sure that all the knowledge that you actually see on a day-to-day basis is actually documented and captured into Whale. So let's take an example. For instance, let's take the pandemic, okay? So the COVID pandemic, 2020 hit, March 2020, majority of us went into lockdown and we had to pivot, we have to change things the way they were done before. Only a few businesses were able to operate the same way that they actually did with no interruption. So I'm sure you have your own experience of that. So if you managed to pivot and change, you did some successful actions, and that knowledge has to be captured. But also that if you had all your knowledge captured before that point, then when you go back in person, you can actually evaluate what happened before. Like I said, in 2019, how does that relate to the situation now? And then make sure that you're not losing any of the successful actions that you were able to do before. If you don't have it documented, that memory, all that knowledge, all that muscle memory that you knew how to do it very well before, it disappeared. And then you basically lost this whole wealth of information. That's an example of why knowledge transfer is so important. And it is so important to actually have it documented. So it is easy reference. You can always go back to what was successful, and you don't lose that hard-won experience, information, wealth of knowledge because of an external event or even an internal event